Welcome to another episode of Health Hustle Chronicles, where the grind meets growth in the world of healthcare. As you know, this ain't your typical podcast because I bring you some of the freshest, the livest guests from around the world. Craig. And today we got a very special guest who goes by the name of Tai Kelly. She's a visionary leader with over a decade of expertise in clinical research and strategic planning, where her work has been defined by innovation and meaningful impact. A pivotal moment in her personal health journey revealed a profound connection between mindset and transformation, inspiring Tai to dive into a science of subconsciousness. The awakening became the foundation of her mission to help others break free from limiting beliefs and create lives of purpose and possibility. As the founder of CCSTC LLC, Tai leverages her expertise in psychological, clinical research, and personal growth to empower individuals to unlock their full potential. Today, she shares how reprogramming the mind can lead to extraordinary transformation and limitless opportunities. Please put your hands together. Let's welcome Tai Kelly to the stage. What's up, Tai?
Hey Patrick, how are you?
Man, I am awesome. And of course, you know I'm even better now that you and I here, we get to vibe with one another. I get to learn about your story. And more importantly, I get to share with the world. So I'm excited about that.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
That is awesome. So let's kick this thing off. You know what? Let's start with personally. Please tell the world, who are you on from a personal standpoint?
Okay, so again, as you mentioned, my name is Ty. I have been working in clinical research for about 10 years. I primarily focus on patient recruitment, client relations, and project management. And I've always had a love for psychology, science, and that my health journey took me on a pivot where I've learned the true connection and meaning behind mind over matter. So that is how I became the founder of Collective Consciousness Soul Thrive Community, which is what we empower individuals to thrive by reprogramming their subconscious mind to create a positive and strong self-concept to create their desired reality.
Hold on, that's a lot. You said a mouthful. Like, come on, like the average person is not going to understand everything. So we gotta break that down step by step. You did a smooth job transitioning from personal to professional, and I didn't even give you any cues. So kudos to you on that. I gotta get some more insight into this reprogramming people's mind. I mean, it sounds like a sci-fi movie where we're in a chair and then you got the headgear on, and then you're connecting my mind to somebody else's. So break this down a little bit more. Help me understand your business.
Sure. So subconscious reprogramming is not as complicated or complex as it may sound. Our brain is very plasticky, so our brains are forever changing, it's forever processing information. So what we want to do is feed our brain positive information because whatever we're going to feed our brain, that's what we're going to process it. So why not be intentional and feed our brain positive information or information that we want to possess in order to create our desired reality. So it's pretty much what you're putting in, that's what you're going to get out.
That sounds too easy though. Like I don't know about you, but it's hard for me to shut off some posts that I see on social media or get away from certain TV shows because they're just so freaking stimulating. So walk me through how or get some of those practices you help us so we can focus on the right thing and that positive, allow our brain to accept some of this positivity you're spitting out.
I feel like that's when it becomes you're going to have to be intentional and you're going to have to create healthy boundaries. I feel like every choice that we make is going to have to be intentional. So, say that you're watching a program that may not be good to your nervous system. You're going to have to
Right.
be intentional and know, like, how strong can I be to just turn this off? Like, okay, this isn't making me feel good. What
Sure.
benefit is this giving me? So I feel like that's when you make that intentional decision to turn that off. And of course, it's always a balance. I feel like I don't want to ever give anyone the impression like I just have it all figured out, but it's a
Right.
balance. And when you are mindful of what you're processing, that's when it becomes healthy. It's like, okay, I know this may not be good in the long run, but I'm self-aware enough to know that. So I'm going to take it in by doses.
Got it. So help me understand, what does CCSTC stand for?
So it's collective consciousness, soul tribe community. So it's just a community-based organization where we get together and help each other create that desired reality. I feel like there's power in synergy. So of course you understand how you collaborate with other people that is helps you get to a common goal.
Got it. Man, this is some good stuff. Man, I'm gonna have so many follow-up questions just on your company and what you're doing. But before I get to that, you know what? I think it's important for our listeners, for our viewers, to really see themselves in you and talk about some of that your hustle journey. As you and I know, there's never a straight path to success, right? And
Absolutely
oftentimes we
not.
may have to do some strange things, you know what I'm saying? Or borrow sugar from our neighbor, just to get so.
Understood.
Help me understand your hustle's journey.
Sure. So I am first generation American from Jamaica. My parents immigrated from Jamaica long ago, and I'm forever grateful for their journey because knowing the resilience and perseverance that my mother just endured in her childhood and growing up to get me here where I am today, that allowed me. My parents have always instilled in me that you can literally do whatever you want. And that's probably why when I think about it, that's definitely how I got into subconscious reprogramming. It's like that was instilled into me in an early age. So I've always had this curiosity as a kid to understand why do people do what they do, not necessarily knowing that that was psychology.
Right.
But eventually, as I went to undergrad, I ended up majoring in psychology. And then one of my professors noticed my love for why, noticed my type A personality and recruited me for one of her research labs. And I fell in love with research ever since. And then that's how I got into research. And then what pivoted my journey is I had my own health battles. And that is truly what taught me mind over matter. I feel like once I taught my brain, like, isn't the end of your story. We have to heal from this. I was able to heal myself literally by telling my brain that this is not your story. This is what we're going to do. And then taking those little steps every day, like, this isn't your story. This is what we're going to do. I was able to heal myself. And that's what shot me into that subconscious reprogramming. Like, hey, there's power in this. There's power in your thought process.
So did you heal yourself like 100% on your own, or did you truly have like some assistance to help you out?
So I did go to the doctor, but whatever they gave me would make me worse. And they truly couldn't figure out what was causing the issues. So naturally, that little brain, your brain has a natural response on healing the body. So it was like,
Mhm.
oh, you should probably try this one herb. And then I tried that herb and I started noticing, okay, I'm feeling better. So I just went through the process, started learning, started reading, learning about my own body personally. And then that's how I was able to heal myself
So
completely on
you,
my own. No longer go to the doctor. They couldn't figure it out anyway.
so I mean, and one of the words you threw out there was herbs. You were literally taking herbs, and that healed you.
Yeah, I started taking herbs. I feel like they say your gut is your second brain, and
Yeah.
it absolutely is. I feel like my gut was not where it needed to be based on my body. It's like I can think I'm eating healthy, but based on my body type, I was not feeding my body the correct foods. So once I figured out my nutrition, that's when I was able to heal myself.
And so far, like whatever you were battling before, it hasn't came back.
No, so I could not, when I tell you I was struggling, like I would faint multiple times a day. I couldn't
Wow.
walk. I had to like use the riding carts if I went to the grocery store. I thought there was going to be a point where I couldn't play with my daughter anymore. Like I did a completely 360 by simply learning the power of mind and matter.
Interesting. This is dope already. Like this is really dope. So okay, I have to know because I know people are gonna want to ask me. They're gonna be like, Patrick, why didn't you ask this? So I gotta know. You mentioned herbs. Are we talking about like medical marijuana? Are we talking
Oh
about
no.
mushrooms? What are we talking about? Like,
So when I say herbs, I'm referring to my number one favorite herb root is going to be ginger. Ginger is my cure all for everything. So I'm talking about ginger. I'm talking about turmeric. I'm talking about maca. There's mucuna. There's so many different herbs depending on what your struggle is. So those are the herbs when I'm referring to herbs.
you just
Not
named everything that I've never heard before, but I'm like, what? But Kuma, what? Like I'm excited. I want to try some of this stuff now. You're talking about gut health and all this good stuff. So
That
I
is
mean,
my passion.
yeah, is this something that you sell? You partner with people, or you just go to a
It's
regular
funny.
store?
It's in the works.
Okay,
I definitely know certain herbal stores that I know in the community, but it's in the works. Everyone's been asking me, like, I get so many questions on social media about, oh, what can I take, or do you supply herbs?
yeah.
So it's in the works.
So
I just want to make sure I go about it ethically.
outside of like which is the biggest thing, your health. Outside of your health, and we're talking about your hustler's journey, but outside of that, were there any other setbacks or things that you had to overcome in order to become the person that you are today?
Absolutely. I feel like working in clinical research and working in leadership positions, senior level positions, there's just not many people who look like me. Like
Right.
clinical research is dominated primarily by Caucasian males. So I feel like just having to prove myself on a day to day was definitely a battle. But I mean, I don't mind. I'm pretty confident in who I am and what I bring to the table. So it's never really been that big of a struggle for me.
Got it. And then outside of race, is what about um, being a woman? Is that an issue in clinical research?
Absolutely. We all know Black women are the lowest paid minority group in
Yeah.
business. So, of course, that's always a roadblock. But I feel like I don't, let me say the best way to say this, I don't subscribe to stereotypes. So
Okay.
it's like you can have that stereotype, but I'm going to prove myself and I'm going to advocate for myself regardless of how someone else feels. But again, that goes to that subconscious reprogramming. So if I feel that this person looks at me in a certain way, that is going to be the experience that I had. But if I'm coming there confident, knowing who I am and what I'm bringing to the table, I'm going to have that experience.
I love that. I love that. And you had mentioned before, like your background is like psychology, clinical research. What level of degree did you obtain to reach
I
that?
have I have an undergrad in psychology,
Undergrad.
and
What
I'm
does that allow you
currently.
to do?
Mhm.
What does that allow you to
So
do?
I feel like it's really based on experience. I feel like because even though I got my undergrad in psychology, because I started doing undergrad, I was able to gain that hands-on experience, and I'm also pursuing my master's in public health.
Ooh, you out there hustling. I see you. Hey, I'm loving your journey already. Okay, so
Thank
I have to
you.
know this. Why did you land on being a clinical research professional? And then, I mean, you're also an entrepreneur because you're a business
Mhm.
owner as well. So tell me, how did that come about?
What landed me in clinical research is just my love for improving the quality of life of others. For me, that's been something I would say my purpose, my mission in life is just improving that quality of life in others. And I feel like just throughout childhood and throughout adulthood, I've always been that go to person for information. So it was just kind of natural how I went into clinical research, knowing that I'm improving the quality of life of patients.
So, what age was this when you decided, you made up your mind? You're like, you know what? I'm going to be a clinical research professional.
Um, I don't think there was a certain. I knew at a young age that I was going to be in science. I already knew that very young. But clinical research, I would say about 18 is when I
Right?
made that decision.
Is there anyone in your life that inspired you to pursue this path, or just as a young girl, you woke up and you'd be like, you know what? I'm going to be a clinical research scientist, you know?
No, I would say it wasn't like I woke up and was like, I'm going to do this. But I feel like the support system I had throughout high school with my teachers, and then the support system I had throughout undergrad, and then, of course, the support system I had at home with my parents just knowing my love for knowledge kind of just pushed me into this.
And I mean, and think about it. I want you to kind of just think back a little bit. If you hadn't become a clinical research, this professional that
Mhm.
you are today, what do you think you would have been?
I'm gonna say I would have been an educator, like in some sort, because of what I do professionally and what I do personally. I'm always educating and teaching, so I know that I would have been in education on some level for sure.
Got it. Now, for all of us, including myself, that still don't know what the freak you do, right? What exactly do you do today? What do you do?
So today I am a full-time entrepreneur. I run Collective Consciousness Self Drive Community, where we have an online platform. We offer courses, we offer mentorships, and that is where I teach that subconscious reprogramming, where we're learning to release, let go of old, outdated paradigms that no longer serve you, so that you can live the life that you desire.
Is this something like if I collaborated with you on this because I wanted to get my mind right? Can I just go to you for one session and be done, or is this going to be like you and I? We need this relationship for a whole year to get me right.
I do offer one-on-one, one-off, but truly for subconscious reprogramming, this is a commitment. I feel like as long as you need me, I am here. So I do recommend that you do at least 3 months before you just go off into the world. But I'm always here for support. I feel like so when I say subconscious reprogramming, it's so simple. So if you were to say that
It
you were like,
sounds
you know
deep.
what?
It
No,
sounds
so say
deep.
that you was like, I'm gonna do one session and I'm gonna have it all figured out. If that's
Yeah.
what you believe, that truly might be the case for you. That's
Okay.
the thing. I was like, if that's truly what you believe, you would apply that knowledge and that would be the case for you.
Okay.
So
Now is
my job is to get you away from me.
got it. And I love that because there's so many other professions, like attorneys that they want to keep you forever so they can keep
Right.
milking you. You know what I'm saying? You're saying, you know what? I want to help you move you on so I can help the next person, which is powerful within itself. Because that's what we're all looking
Exactly.
for. We want to connect with a professional like yourself and someone that has solutions for answers. I mean, for questions that we don't have, and that you can help us navigate that process. But I don't want to be around you forever. I got a whole life that I'm trying to live.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. So I'm not, my job isn't to make you a forever client. My job is to help you break those paradigms so that
Okay.
you can go out and teach others how to do it as well. Be that living inspiration.
Now, are you prescribing like medications and stuff like that,
No,
or no? It's
I'm
not
not a
part of the journey.
doctor.
Okay, okay.
No.
So you just come here your whole self. What about like yoga? You doing yoga and
Absolutely. Oh, it's great that you asked that. I'm not
okay,
prescribing medications, but I do host meditation sessions. So I do host one-on-one meditation sessions. I used to do them in a group setting, but it's a big energy exchange just for me. So I do host one-on-one
ooh, I
meditation
like
sessions.
that. I like that. So are these okay? Are these done online, or you got like a place of business where people walk into?
These are online. These are
Okay.
virtual. So anyone, anywhere around the world can join.
Man, why didn't we connect sooner? I'm gonna get your information in a little bit, but all right, as we move on, I want to know because you're already doing a lot. How do you separate like your personal life from your professional life? Because that seems to be a thing nowadays, right?
I can definitely speak volumes to that. I feel like when I was working primarily in clinical research, it was definitely a struggle knowing when to take off that leadership hat. I feel like
Right.
now I definitely advocate and prioritize mindfulness. So I'm very mindful in the time that I'm sharing with others and creating those boundaries for whenever I am spending time with my family. Knowing, okay, the phone goes off at this certain time. I'm not responding to emails after this certain time because I feel like you got to practice what you preach. And
Sure.
definitely a live in the moment type of person and be present with what you're doing right now. So I definitely value that now and create those boundaries.
I love that creating boundaries because it sounds good coming out of your mouth, but I know for a lot
Hmm.
of us, like creating boundaries is hard to do. I mean, and sometimes some of that creating boundaries is finding your voice and learning how to say no when someone asks you to do something, right? Is that something you talk about as well during your practice or no?
Absolutely. And I feel like that's you said a key word is practice. I feel like no one, or it's very rare to have it figured out when you're doing it first time, one time, but it does take practice and it does take taking those intentional actions and then it becomes easier. Like anything, once you're practicing, if you're doing basketball, if you practice enough, it becomes second nature to you. So it does
And
take practice.
when I think of the word clinical research, I just think of a bunch of people in white coats with hats and goggles, right? And they're in these cold rooms, and no one's talking to each other. Everybody has their head down, and it's a very isolated industry. Tell me more about some of the pitfalls and misconceptions, because I'm throwing out some misconception already. Is what I believe. This is my personal
Absolutely.
belief. So help me in the worst of the world understand some of these pitfalls and misconceptions your industry face.
Sure. So that's definitely a misconception. I feel like clinical research is so collaborative. There's so many different companies that you wouldn't even guess collaborate together to keep the patient health at forefront. I feel like patient safety and finding cures for patients is number one. So there's so many collaborations effort. We're constantly communicating, constantly coming up with ideas, constantly planning. But also one of the pitfalls to that is that I've worked in patient recruitment for about 8 years straight, and I noticed that there is a lot of imbalance between the disease population being represented because of just minorities' history that they've had with the healthcare system, that they have that fear of participating in clinical research, thinking that that based on history that they're going to be done wrong now. So I feel like I have to do a lot of speaking to patients on what clinical research is now. And just a small example, I just remind them, like, say that you have a headache and you're taking Tylenol.
Yeah.
Someone had to volunteer to take that Tylenol in order for your loved ones to now have it. Or if this is a life-saving drug like a diabetic medication that your loved one is taking, someone had to volunteer for your loved one to now be saved. So when I explain it to that in a real life situation, it tends to help.
Interesting. So I would imagine like you're going to have multiple conversations with these same people in order to get them to raise their hand and say, you know what, I would like to be a participant in a clinical trial. I mean, is that true or what?
Yeah, so again, it's definitely a collaborative effort. So when I was working primarily like hands-on patient recruitment, I would be the face that they see and we'll discuss it. But I will always have colleagues that they also talk to. So talking to multiple people and getting more information, and then having someone to call when you have more questions definitely helps. Like
Is
knowing
there
that you're not going to just a number and then we'll never speak to you again if you had additional
exactly?
questions.
That's what I fear. Like I'm going to show up for a clinical trial. You're going to give me a medication, send me home, and no one's ever going to follow up with me anymore. And I'm just going to be up here like, doing this. Like, what's going on?
Absolutely not. There's definitely protocols in place, and you definitely have like on-call numbers. Definitely, you have that opportunity to ask questions, and if you don't think of a question there, of course, there's later opportunities to ask questions. You have an on-call doctor you can reach out to, so it's definitely more supportive than what most people think.
And what type of clinical research studies have you personally worked on?
I worked on a variety from, I would say, phase one, when we're just now introducing it into patients, to all the way bringing a drug to market. And I've worked on rare disease, oncology, diabetics, psychological. I have like a vast variety of research projects that I've worked on.
And specifically, or the research you're doing, is it for like the Black and brown community or just across genders or
Yeah,
races?
it's a variety.
Okay.
It's not necessary. It really depends on the disease population. So that, say that you get a protocol there, they have inclusion criteria, or they have, okay, stats on who's being the most affected by this disease. So we have that inclusion criteria that we want to meet and to get those patients to participate. But my job is to ensure that we're not having a, I want to say, misconstrued number, like a number that doesn't represent the population that it's affecting. So
Right.
we discuss like best ways to recruit patients based on the disease. Like, this is who it's affecting. Let's do our best to recruit the patients of who is actually affected.
And you truly believe like the research you guys are doing truly works?
Absolutely. I feel
Okay.
like I'm all about preventative care. Like we discussed earlier, I'm a health person. I heal myself without the doctor. So I'm all about preventative care. But once you are past preventative care, let's save your life. How are we going to do this?
Right.
Like, you
So,
do your part and let the doctors do theirs.
okay, I like that. Okay, I like that you're giving me and us some more insight and kind of getting us past some of those stigma and misconceptions, because I can already tell you firsthand, if you hit me up and be like, hey, we need you for a clinical trial, I'll be like, what? Not me. Couldn't be. Then who? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, not. So yeah, this is really informational. And hopefully, people find some insight on this, because like, you're right. Somebody had to start with the clinical trials, right, in order to get to the outcomes that we're trying to get to, which is better health, better care for people throughout the world. So that's some powerful stuff. So as we pivot, I want you to tell us more about your company, and then more importantly, like, how do people get in touch with your company so we can contract you and your services?
Sure. So the best way to get in contact with me, I'm on all the social medias. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You can also reach me by email, which is Tanya@SoThriveCommunity.com. And more about collective consciousness. So Thrive Community is all about that subconscious reprogramming. What are some old limited beliefs that you need to let go of so that you can start living your desired reality? Like, let's get there.
Absolutely. Hey guys, so if you're just joining the show, welcome to another episode of Health Hustle Chronicles, where the grind meets growth. We have an amazing opportunity. We're connecting today with Tai Kelly. She's a visionary leader, has over a decade of expertise in clinical research and strategic planning, where her work has been defined by innovation and meaningful impact. And a pivotal moment and her personal health journey revealed the profound connection between mindset and transformation, inspiring Tai to dive into science of the subconsciousness. This awakening became the foundation of her mission to help others break free from limiting beliefs and create lives of purpose and possibility. As the founder of CCSTC LLC, Tai leverages her expertise in psychology, clinical research, and personal growth to empower individuals to unlock their full potential. Today, she shares how reprogramming the mind can lead to extraordinary transformation and limitless opportunities. So back into it, Tai. I would love to know, in your opinion, what do you think what holds people back from accomplishing their goals?
I would say, as we touched on, is those limiting beliefs and fear of the imposter syndrome, fear of I might fail, fear of I might succeed. I feel like we don't talk about that enough. Like people have a fear of success. So I feel like that it's truly fear that I feel like hold people back. It's the fear of the unknown. You're stepping into something brand new, and our body's natural response is to protect ourselves. So we're thinking that fear is protecting us when it's really hindering our growth.
That's deep. The fear of success. Like you just put a spin on it. Because now that I think about it, that probably is right. Like we're afraid to start because like, what if I am successful,
You're
right?
right. What does
Then
that
what am I
mean?
gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, deep. Okay, all right. So tell me and the rest of the world. Tell me about the impact that you're trying to make.
So my goal and my purpose is to inspire others to just live out their dreams, inspire others to release fear, inspire others to let go of those limited beliefs. I feel like my purpose is to improve the quality of life of others, and I'm going to do that in any capacity.
That's strong. Okay. So people listening to this and they're watching and then they look at you and then they hear this story and then they find, I guess, inspiration in the words in your story and they're interested in like joining the hustler journey, either following a similar path as you or connecting with you. What advice would you give them?
I would say my advice is follow the breadcrumbs. Just go for it. I
Okay.
feel like take those small habits. I feel like what most people don't understand, they just think you're going to go from point A to point Z and not understand that there's a journey in between. So I
Right.
feel like embracing that journey and making those small daily habits is what's going to be crucial. Those daily habits add up. We don't just go from running a marathon to crawling. So, or
Right.
from crawling to running a
To run the myth.
marathon. So just take those small daily habits very serious.
So do you have, I mean, outside of work, because you're already doing a lot, you got the clinical research, you're a full-time entrepreneur, you're hosting yoga classes, it sounds like you're doing that as well. You're prescribing herbal teas, and I can't wait to get some of this, right? Um, is there like a passion project that you're working on or anything outside of work that you like to talk about?
I feel like it is really when you have a mission, it kind of never turns off. So for me, my passion, even outside of my business, is to educate people. So I talk a lot about herbal medicine. I talk a lot about the importance of meditation. For me, that is truly what brought me here is my love for meditation. So I talk a lot about meditation. And of course, I love to travel. I love to immerse myself in other cultures. So yeah, I would say those for sure.
I got a question, and it's burning to know. So you speak about the herbs, right? And then we know
Mhm.
like if you go to a regular doctor, they give you one medication, and then they give you a second medication to alleviate the
Calm
effects
down.
of the first medication. You know what I'm saying? So now all of a sudden you got 2 or 3 different medications, and you only freaking had a headache. You're like, wow, I went on with 3 or 4 different medications. So do you think like herbs is the answer for everybody, or is it just a certain few of people?
For me, because I had my love for clinical research, I feel like herbs is preventative. I feel like the goal in healthcare that I feel like most great prescribers are now pivoting to is preventative care. So herb is to prevent needing to go to the doctor. But if you go to the doctor, follow your doctor's recommendation because you're now there for a reason. You didn't take preventative care seriously or whatever the case may be. So now let's follow what our prescribers have suggested.
This is good stuff, and I appreciate this. Hey, as
No
we close out
problem.
the show, I would love for you to, just leave the viewers with your last parting words before we close this out.
Sure, I would say take everything moment by moment. I feel like no one has life figured out, and I feel like some of us get so wrapped up into thinking that we have to have it figured out, or our journey has to look like someone else's journey. The hustle journey for you is unique, so embrace it. Embrace the journey. Don't think so much about the destination, and take those daily steps to get you there.
Good stuff. And one more time, how do people get in touch with you?
Sure. So you can reach me by email at tanya@soulthrivecommunity.com. I'm also on all the social media platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I also have a YouTube. Yeah.
You got
So I'm here.
everything. You got everything. This is good. Okay. So again, everybody, welcome to another episode of Health Hustle Chronicles, where the grind meets growth in the world of healthcare. We had a very special guest today. We were joined by Tai Kelly. A little bit about Tai. She's a visionary leader with over a decade of expertise in clinical research, strategic planning, where her work has been defined by innovation and meaningful impact. A pivotal moment in her personal health journey revealed the profound connection between mindset and transformation, inspiring Tai to dive into the science of subconsciousness. This awakening became the foundation of her mission to help others break from limiting beliefs and create lives of purpose and possibility. As the founder of CCSTC LLC, Tai leverages her expertise in psychology, clinical research, and personal growth to empower individuals to unlock their full potential. Today, she shares how reprogramming the mind can lead to extraordinary transformation and limitless opportunities. Take some time, look her up, connect with Tai. Let's move to the next level, to the next one.
Thank you.